Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to a new video. My name is Evelin Barta, and I hope that everyone is doing well. So today we will be checking the energies of May 2022, which we are approaching now, and we are closing the month of April. So we will check what energies will be dominant in the month of May. I will be talking about astrology as well, and to see what aspects are influencing the collective, what aspects are influencing us as well individually. So it will be, I think it will be a great month. It will be an interesting month, a lot of expansion. And interestingly, April, in my energy update video about April, I talked about April being the month of illusions and the month of disillusionment as well. And that was because of that great conjunction of Neptune and Jupiter in Pisces, which happens rarely every 166 years. So it was interesting to see a wave of people really waking up and first getting disillusioned about many things in our society, not only the structures, not only those political systems and the corruption and everything that is kind of coming to the surface, but then also about New Age, also about spirituality and the distortions of the New Age spirituality. That was a very common theme, which I saw with many people, with myself as well. And that's why I kept talking about that in my videos. I kept talking about the white hat delusions and the distortions of this community. So there was a wave of people that got disillusioned and woke up to a new realization, a new perspective about how they are viewing their spirituality, how they are viewing their relationships with other people. And there was a wave of people as well that got even more into illusions, that got even more delusional about the world. So yeah, that was very interesting to see. And then I think I was even saying in my video back then that I will be curious about what is going to be more common. And then both were very, very common, and both are serving a great purpose. So yeah, every single month, because of these transits and because of these different astrological aspects, has a theme. And the theme of May, from what I received, like when I tuned into the energies of it and I received the downloads, what I received was that the dominant theme of May will be courage and boldness and action and going after what we want, going after things that we didn't have the courage to go after. And loads of emotions, definitely. So I will be talking about that and why is that happening, because the astrological aspects are also confirming that will be dominant. So yeah, May 2022, I think again is a very powerful month. I think again is serving a great purpose and is playing a big role in humanity's awakening process, just as April did. And we are approaching an eclipse season now. Actually, yes, on the 30th of April, we are having a new moon, solar eclipse. And then we have a full moon lunar eclipse happening on the 16th of May. So very, very powerful changes in this period of time. And eclipse seasons are always have an elongated effect, because prior to the eclipses, like 1 month before that, we can already feel the changes, we can already feel the energies, and then 6 months after, or even 7 months after that. So it will have an elongated effect. It will be a long process of changes, but especially this time between the two eclipses in May is going to be a period of rapid changes. It's going to be a period of plot twists, so we can expect things that we didn't expect. We wouldn't expect normally. And then we also have Jupiter entering Aries on the 10th of May. So Aries is kind of like a central figure in the month of May. The energies of Aries will be very dominant this month. So it's a month to be ready for a wild ride, because Aries is very dynamic, it's very action oriented, it wants things now, it knows what it wants and it wants it now. So that kind of energy. And yeah, it's an unpredictable ride, but not necessarily a negative ride. It will be a very busy period for many of us. It will be probably very unpredictable, but not necessarily negative. So it will be a very expensive time for us to finally go for something that we don't have the courage to go for, as I said. We also have Venus moving into Aries, I think on the 2nd of May. So that slower pace of Taurus, now it will get replaced with that more agitated energy of Aries. And we will get that energy of let's get moving now. Let's get things done now, because we know what we want kind of energy. And both Venus and Jupiter being in Aries, it will give us that push to go for things in life that are bringing us joy, things that are bringing us pleasure, and to stop holding ourselves back from what we really want to achieve, from what we really want to experience and what we desire. So it's giving us that beautiful, expansive energy to be courageous about admitting what we want and to find out things about ourselves that we probably didn't even know up to this point. So it's a very, very beautiful energy. Venus has a beautiful energy of expansion. Jupiter has also a beautiful expansive energy. And we also have Uranus, which is very present, and that is also very oriented to the future, to expansion, to things that are yet to be discovered, yet to be lived, and leaving that traditional way behind, kind of. So we will experience this fire energy, this our minds being on fire, and this flux of energy, of inspiration, of new ideas, coming up with new solutions for the future as well, and then seeing opportunities about how to better our lives and how to better the future as well, like opportunities that we did not see up to this point, as I said. So it's really bringing this expansive energy. It's really bringing us to this point of opening up and almost like going in a way and in a direction of self-sufficiency, like doing things on our own as well, but not meaning that we don't have to collaborate with others. It simply means that we will discover things about ourselves, and we probably will discover things about others as well, or we will discover things about ourselves through other people by communicating with other people. It's not about taking time to slowly strategize things in this period, but it's more about finding a spark of inspiration and then running with it, and admitting to ourselves that trying and failing is just as valuable, is just as necessary in life as trying and succeeding in something. So we will not look at our failures as failures, but we will look at those things as opportunities for growth, opportunities for expansion, like risking more. It's all about breaking new ground. It's all about developing resilience and developing strength in this period. And I do believe that collectively this means that people will be less and less keen to accept restrictions, any kind of restrictions, and to kind of break free from the self-imposed restrictions as well, which are reflecting or being reflected in our society now. So this can be a period of time, as I said, of expansion, and we might see a wave of people also going against the establishment now and finding solutions to become more and more self-sufficient and to say that, okay, enough is enough now. So we might experience some unrest in that sense in the collective. And then we have also a Mars and Neptune conjunction in May, which is giving everything a spiritual perspective. So that is meaning that a spiritual perspective of the heart is needed. A spiritual approach, the approach of the heart is needed when we want to go for things, when we want to take action, and when we are taking any initiative through which we can expand. So the spiritual aspect is extremely important, is crucial when it comes to our expansion. So as I said, we have the new moon solar eclipse on the 30th of April, and then on the 16th of May we have the full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And this period of time between these two eclipses can be very intense, can be very overwhelming for the nervous system. So it's important to find practices that are nourishing and are supporting our nervous system. So for example, grounding yourself, spending time in nature, also getting enough sleep is very important in this period of time, because that is also supporting your nervous system. Then breathing exercise or meditation, so these kind of practices are important. And then also food that is high vibrational and is nourishing. So this is a transformational period, this eclipse season, where we can let go of lots of things. But as necessary it is, and as cleansing it is, and purging is just as overwhelming as well for our system. This full moon is in Scorpio, and Scorpio is very intense, is very mysterious, is deeply connected to our emotional and our shadow selves as well. So we might get a lot of things that are coming up, and a lot of things that might be screaming as well, to pay attention to those things. So feelings that were ignored in the past, have been ignored, may ask to be acknowledged. So it's important to be with those emotions. And this is not a period to fix anything, but it's about surrendering to the process, surrendering to those intense emotions, and kind of riding out the wave of emotions. So definitely this can bring an amplification of our emotional landscape and to our feelings. And this full moon in Scorpio is the most intense and most passionate of all the full moons this year. We can have that feeling that we will be prompted to eliminate things that are no longer serving, things that are unnecessary, and to make space and time and energy for those things that are necessary. So for those things that are really serving our expansion, and people and activities as well that are having the same values, or are helping us to exercise our values. So healing of old hurts and old wounds can be dominant in this period, things that we have been holding on to, and we have an opportunity to shift our perspectives about those things, and that can give us this feeling of liberation. Now, the tarot card that is associated with this full moon is the Seven of Cups. And the Seven of Cups is the card of choices. And sometimes having so many choices that we almost forgot about what is really important here. So the shadow side of this card is that even though we have a lot of choices, and we have a lot of imagination and fantasy, and the vision that can help us with the manifestation of our goals and dreams, but we can also get lost in the process by focusing on the wrong things. By having lots of choices, we can get lost in focusing on unrealistic idols, unrealistic ideas as well. So that is the shadow side of it. And it's so typical for Scorpio, which is very invested in the underworld, is very invested in dark things. So you might be feeling these days, like prior to this eclipse season and then afterwards, that you will find yourself being very drawn to the underworld, to secrets, to finding out what is behind certain things, to getting into the details of crimes, of death and rebirth. So it can bring up like these very, very shadowy sides of our society and shadow parts of ourselves as well. And then Scorpio is also ruling, as I said, the underworld. The theme of betrayal can be very dominant in the society as well, and things that are related to that, and corruption and secrets and big money and investment. So lots of things might get revealed in this period of time as well. Things that are concerning and are related to people in power. And some astrologers are also talking about possible passing away of certain people in power, or revealing of secrets about these people that are in power. So eclipses are definitely turning points in consciousness as well, and our ascension process and our spiritual expansion can be like a quantum leap. It can speed up and it can get very intensified, but as I said, there's a high chance for our nervous system to be affected by that, to get overwhelmed. So make sure that you are getting enough sleep in this period, and then you are consuming food as well that is nourishing for you. So it's all about thinking big, is all about empowerment, and it's all about intensity. And it's also a great period of releasing karma and releasing old addictions. So we can really have this expansion and progress, like quantum progress, so to speak. Solar eclipses are very likely normally to bring something that is an external event, that can be a catalytic event. So they are being marked by an external real world event. And lunar eclipses are more about going inward. They are more about bringing up strong emotional experiences and more like subjective events, so like more internal processes that can lead to big changes, that can lead to permanent changes, because the endings that are followed by these eclipses, like in this eclipse season, are normally permanent. They are major endings, but normally they are permanent endings as well. So very big emotional waves, and the best way to ride out that wave of emotions is to surrender to the process and not to try to fix anything and not to try to change it, but just be aware of what is being surfaced at this time and what are those feelings that were not acknowledged. That is very, very important. All right, so let's get a few cards now and let's check what is going on in the collective. So I will pull a few oracle cards, and first tarot cards and then oracle, and let's see how May is going to be and what we can expect in the collective. So what we can expect in humanity's consciousness. So the energies of May, please. All right, we have the Empress upright, the Lovers reversed, Five of Pentacles reversed, Nine of Pentacles upright, and we have the Nine of Wands at the bottom of the deck. So we had the Empress upright and the Lovers reversed, and that for me is saying that there is a lot of abundance out there, and I think it will become very clear for many people that we have other ways of providing for ourselves, and that will be probably going against the establishment, going against the system, because the Nine of Pentacles is about self-sufficiency, is about taking measures and considering that there are other ways. So this is talking about solo pleasures. It's talking about people that have earned the title of being self-sufficient through a lot of work. So I think it will cross more and more people's mind that in order to have a great life, in order to thrive as well, we have to do things differently. And especially now, taking in consideration the food supply, the food shortages and increasing prices, it's just becoming more and more evident for everyone that the only way to establish for ourselves our own survival and thriving and living is to become self-sufficient. So it's definitely a great lesson for humanity when it comes to our resources. And then we had the Empress upright and the Lovers, and that is telling me that the way to learn what abundance is and the way to attract abundance into our lives, because there's so much abundance out there, but there are some hard choices that needs to be made, and maybe some very hard lessons as well, like learning the hard way, because the Lovers reverse is talking about choices but then getting it wrong, like making a wrong choice in order to arrive to certain conclusions and in order to change our perspectives. So there will be some challenges and there will be some lessons that the collective will be learning. We will continue learning about resources, about money, about finances in May, in order to understand like how to create abundance for ourselves. So the Lovers reverse is saying that many people will choose the wrong path, or many people will realize that they are on the wrong path. But it's kind of failing before we are succeeding. That's kind of that energy. And then we had the Five of Pentacles reversed, and when it's upright, it's talking about a financial loss. It is talking about being left out in the cold. It can be an illness, it can be like that feeling of being abandoned, so like a loss of home, or definitely some financial difficulties, but it came out reversed. So I think that in May there's some new hope for many people when it comes to how to solve these financial problems, there's a new hope and there's a new recovery after losing some finances, losing some resources. And that the Five of Pentacles also reminds me, when it's reversed, of disillusionment, of understanding that we have been lied to in many situations and we should stop believing in rescue fantasies. We have to start seeing things for what they are and to understand what is really going on, because before things get better, they will get worse. So that's the card of things will get worse before they get better. That's the Nine of Wands. It's about keeping and maintaining one's boundaries, but understanding that we will eventually succeed. And even if there is a struggle there, we will arrive to that victory. So that is the Nine of Wands, and that is the underlying energy of this reading. So yeah, there's some hope in terms of that, but there are some financial lessons and lessons as well that we have to go through in May. Let's see what is the next one. The Hanged Man reversed. That's like feeling like a victim. The Chariot. So definitely a lot of movement forward. As I said, we have this Aries energy and we also have the eclipses. So definitely a lot of action, a lot of movement forward, a lot of change, like major changes can come. But I see like there's a lot of journeying in May. So you might be experiencing a lot of journeying, maybe a lot of traveling as well. But as I said, like there's a lot of expansion there. That is the Chariot. But then we had the Hanged Man reversed. And that is about victimhood. And when it's reversed, the Hanged Man is saying that there's a need for surrendering. There's a need for surrendering to spiritual influences and to the emotions. And sometimes the Hanged Man reverse is reminding me of false prophets as well. So we have to watch out for false prophecies, and that is Scorpio energy. So there might be some false flags that we can expect in May. So maybe certain events being hijacked or being just exaggerated, and that exaggeration will serve as a false flag, as bringing forward something that is an agenda. So I think false flags can be something in May, definitely. All right, let's get a few cards now from this oracle deck. Let's see what is that is dominant in May. So what is the dominant theme of May? So I will just shuffle the cards. What can the collective expect in May? Radical honesty. To believe in the facade is to suffocate in the armor of alienation, self-defeat, and self-denial. Radical honesty. Let me see something else. What's the next one? False beliefs. Once the untruth that we believe about ourselves are illuminated, so are the ways we can release the false limitations they confine to us. Yeah, false beliefs. So yes, I think May is about the healing of these false beliefs about ourselves, these false beliefs of telling a story to ourselves and buying into the untruth about ourselves. And it will be about radical honesty and seeing beyond the facade, seeing beyond that mask that we are putting on and that armor, which is a tool for alienation from each other. It's a tool for alienation from the rest of the world and the separation consciousness. And that is that tool, and that is that weapon which can be used against us. So there will be, I think, a lot of realization of that in May, that what we have thought that was actually serving our expansion and serving our consciousness was just an escapism. And many times I talk about that new age spirituality, just as organized religion, is serving for many people as a tool for escapism. And it is deeply distorted and is deeply weaponized now. So for me, that, the Hanged Man reverse, for example, like the false prophet card, is also talking about this new age spirituality that is deeply infiltrated now, that is deeply weaponized and used against us. So it is part of the disillusionment process to understand that what we thought that was serving our expansion was actually just holding us back. And there's a realization of these false beliefs. and false stories that we have been telling us about the world. And look, the next card is perspective, 39. A calm and clear mind is free to see differently. So there's a new perspective. We have to see a new perspective in that sense. And many times I talked about coping mechanisms and how they are no longer serving us. And it's becoming more and more clear for more and more of us that this over glorification of individuality is just serving as a tool for alienating us further from each other, separating us further from each other. So there's a new perspective that is needed in that sense, and a more grounded approach as well. Let me see, what is the next one? 22. Women supporting women. Together we can transcend our individual limitations. So yeah, what did I say? It's all about transcending individual limitations, because individuality can become a limitation. Individuality can become empowering for certain people or to a certain degree, but then it can get extremely disempowering as well. Let me see what the guidebook is saying. When we realize that we are not alone or judged in our greatest vulnerability, hurts, and confusion, we heal. So yeah, it's all about healing the past. It's all about transmuting the karma and transmuting the old limitations, like transmuting old hurts. And those things might come up for many of us in May, but we can only overcome those things and those limitations if we ask for help, if we support each other. It's not about doing it individually. That's not real healing. Real healing is when we can share these things with others and we are not being judged. We can overcome these experiences together, because all these traumas have happened within a family unit, within the community. So you cannot heal any wound that happened within a community outside of a concept of the community. So you cannot heal community-related traumas or traumas related to your intimate relationships outside the concept of an intimate relationship. It needs to be healed inside that concept, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is today's message. This is today's video. I hope it resonated with some of you. I hope it was helpful. If it did, you can feel free to subscribe to my channel. Also, you can feel free to support my work on Patreon. You can have a look there. I'm posting different readings, I'm posting meditations, and then I'm doing discussions as well. So yeah, thank you everyone who is already doing that and who has joined my Patreon. I'm super grateful, and thank you everyone who is supporting my work otherwise as well with your donations. I'm grateful for every single email, for every single message that I receive. It means a lot to me. So take care everyone, and I cannot wait to see you next time.